You guys, welcome to a FIFA 21 potential ratings video. Today we're going to be doing Derby County, since that's the team I do support. Obviously I'll have the best understanding of these players, and I'll know exactly what kind of thing EA are going to do. It's more what EA are going to do than what... I think if anything I've gave them a slight too much boost. But this is probably what EA will do. So let's get into the first player. Then it is going to be Andre Wisdom, who obviously very unfortunately recently got stabbed, and it's actually phenomenal if you put down on paper all the off-field incidents that Koku's had to deal with throughout the season. It's actually ridiculous. Like, you wouldn't... I think if you I don't know, just got any random team like Ipswich, listed down all their incidents off the pitch, I think our list would still be longer this one season than 10 years of Ipswich or whatever. I've just picked a team out of the top of my head. Maybe they've had a lot of incidents, but the point is that the amount of off-field stuff that has happened has obviously affected us on the pitch very early on in the season, since obviously Rooney coming in. Things have started to click. So yeah, Andre Wisdom, obviously, just it's ridiculous that, especially under lockdown, with social distance and everything, that still people are getting stabbed and getting mugged and stuff like that. It's a really brilliant world that we live in. So yeah, I've given him a +2 just because I think the move to centre back, he should get at least a +1, because basically the way stats work is basically he's got low dribbling and low passing and stuff like that, and low shooting. His fullback card wouldn't be as high rated as a centre back card, so this card at centre back will probably get an upgrade, and it would be quite a nice position change. Obviously now that we have no Keo, that centre back slot has opened up. I was going to do Mike Tuerick, but I haven't actually watched him this season. They've done quite well in the Dutch league, but yeah, Wisdom, I think, really good game against Reading. I remember that just before the incident, that he brought out the defensively really strong as well. Of course, that's why I've given him a +4 in defending and +3 in physical, and very good boost in passing, because just the way he brought out the defence and created a goal literally out of nothing and won us the game essentially. So really nice goal for Wisdom, and hopefully he gets well soon. So on to the next player then. We do have Jayden Bogle. Really good season again for him. He's one of those players that obviously defensively he isn't the strongest. He probably could play right wing if he wanted to, with the stats and the abilities that he does have. Obviously very good at dribbling, pace and passing, and it may move forwards it later on in his career, of course. I think now that he's young, being in that right back slot, he does fit in quite nicely. Yeah, I've given him a nice boost in dribbling, +2 in pace. I think his pace should be higher than 80, and a +4 in passing. Really good season again for Bogle. I think a 72 is about fair, maybe even higher. But the thing is about these ratings is it really depends on whether we get promoted or not. So it's kind of pointless me doing it before we see where the season ends, but I'm kind of giving it a fair, maybe slightly higher boost than probably that EA will do. So on to the next player then. We do have the first downgrade of the video, and it is Graham Shiniesta. I really like Shinny. I think Shinny's a player that every club needs. He's that player that I would like him to start more games, especially away from home. I think he could break up the ball a lot more. I think Bird at times could do a lot more, but yeah, I think Shinny's one of those players that really hard working, wins the ball back, and last 20, the asset that Shinny is, of bringing him on the last 20, 15 minutes and just stopping them from scoring is it's really good. So bit of a shame that obviously that for him that Bird, Knight and Sibley have all done well this season and kind of pushed him down the pecking order, but I didn't think Koku ever really thought that he was I don't know, Koku kind of made an assumption of him very, very early on and really didn't give him a chance. I do remember the goal against Wigan, where we got 3 points in the last minute. That was a really nice goal, and that's probably why I've given him that +3. But overall, probably going to be a downgrade just because of the lack of appearances. On to the next player then. It is going to be Max Bird. Giving him a +9 in stats. I think that's a fair assumption for the amount of games that he has played this season. He's probably going to be a high-rated, 60-rated player, pushing on maybe 70. We'll have to wait and see. But a +9 felt quite a lot. But I think a lot of these youngsters that EA didn't really rate this season, at the start of the season, obviously now that they've played a lot of games, they'll probably get quite a nice boost. So Max Bird is the first of those few. Nice boost in dribbling and especially passing. Passing's probably his biggest attribute. Other than that, I think it's just a nice fair upgrade. +9. The thing is, I think the stats that I've given him are probably closer to a 72, maybe even a 73. But it's one of those where I said basically the stats are kind of irrelevant. But yeah, Max Bird, he's a good player that, he's going to be learning off Rooney over the next year or two. And it'll be interesting to see where he goes in the game, whether we get promoted and he stays in the team or not. I do feel sometimes against some teams, especially away from home, doesn't quite get the best performance out of him. But that, he's only, 21 or something. I can't really complain with it. I think he's under 21. So I can't really complain with these youngsters. They're doing a great job. And financially, just brilliant for the club, because we've got probably, if you add up all the youngsters that we have and all the academy products that we've developed this year, probably close to 60 million in value. So overall, great season for Max Bird. So let's move on to the next player, which is Wayne Rooney. Now, I've given him a downgrade, and you may hate me for that, but that's what EA are going to do. They're going to downgrade Rooney. They're going to convert him to a CDM. Hopefully, I hope they do anyway, because if they keep him as a striker, they've clearly not watched us. But yeah, basically, because he's over 30, because he hasn't scored a lot of goals this season, EA are going to downgrade him, and they may even downgrade him more. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 77 or a 78. I've given him the -1 because I just know for a fact they're going to downgrade him. If they boost Rooney to an 81 or 82, I'd be amazed, and I don't see it happening at all. Although he has had a better season this year than he did last season, they just will, because that's what EA do. But yeah, I've given him a +2 in passing, slightly more in defending, obviously, now that he's a more deeper line player. -3 in shooting, obviously still very good at free kicks, bit less pace. But yeah, overall Rooney, what we got, 31 points I think now from the start of January, and it's, just phenomenal. Like, it's kind of annoying that we didn't get him first thing in the season, but obviously he had some contract thing with DC United, so I'm not too sure how that was resolved, because I think one of the DC United board was saying that it's impossible for Rooney to get out of his contract or something, but he did. So yeah, I think overall brilliant signing, and I kind of hope that I hope he sticks around for a bit longer, at least another couple of seasons. I think he has that ability, especially behind the scenes, in training and stuff like that. Just made a completely different feel to the team, and the points alone just show his impact. On to the next player then, we do have Jason Knight. A really good season again for him. I think he scored as many as Sibley, to be fair. Obviously Sibley's only played a handful of games, but over the course of the season, Knight's been one of those players that doesn't mind playing wherever, really. And I wouldn't mind seeing Knight and Bird next to each other, obviously, once Rooney does retire. I think those two in the two holding midfielder slots would fit quite nicely. I think at the minute, the problem Koku has with Knight playing in that deeper role is patience. I think at times, you'll force a pass, which is good on the left side that he does, because you have to do that. But when you play in those deeper roles, you have to, just have to keep going and going and going until an opening does happen. But yeah, in the future, I would quite like Bird and Knight next to each other. I think a midfield three of Bird, Sibley, and Knight is just brilliant. And if we can get that working in some way, and it's kind of happening at the minute. Obviously, they're slightly, Knight's having to push slightly out on the left, but yeah, really good season for Jason Knight. That's why I've given him 69 rated card, really nice boost, and should be a good card next year. And I'm really hoping that the potentials on career mode are really good for these players, especially like Bird, Knight, and Sibley. Like they should have at least 85. So yeah, let's move on to the next player, and it is going to be Dwayne Holmes. Had a bit of an interesting season. It's kind of difficult because, again, similar to Shinny, hasn't had the most amount of games because of the number of midfielders that we've brought in through the academy. So I've given him +1. He's probably going to be pushed to that right mid slot as well. Another position change, of course. Slight boost in his dribbling and pace. Again, Really good shooting. I think that's one thing he definitely needs to improve. I think that goal against Middlesbrough was really good at outside of the box, and did we get the win in that? I think we won against Middlesbrough. And again, +4 in passing. I think that's about fair for Dwayne Holmes. And yeah, he does a lot of off the pitch stuff that a lot of people don't notice and stuff like that. So I think he's a really good player to have at the club, obviously for that attacking midfielder area. And yeah, I think a +1's a fair rating for him. On to the next player then is Sibley. Obviously another phenomenal season for an academy product. I was tempted to do it, you know, like Buchanan and Whittaker and stuff like that, but I thought I'd just keep to Sibley, Burton, Knight and Bogle as academy products, just because they're the ones that have done the best out of the lot. But yeah, Sibley, another great season for an academy product, and probably the best. That's why I've given him the boost of 16 as that. In my opinion, he's better than Bird and Knight. That might be controversial, but you know, the goals alone is what wins football matches, and that's what he does. He scores goals. He doesn't have fear. His dribbling is phenomenal for a player of his age. Like the way he sticks the ball to his foot, and he can just, you know, pretty much both-footed. The goals against Millwall just showed that he did really well against Forest, even though he was pretty much man-marked. You know, there's a couple of moments where, obviously for Forest, just they can't get out because Sibley's just having to chase them down and stuff like that. So yeah, really good season for Sibley. Obviously the hat-trick against Millwall is the highlight so far. Hopefully he can get a few more as well. But yeah, 71 rated card for him is probably about right. And let's move on to the final player. It is Chris Martin. Again, another player. I don't know why people don't like Chris Martin. That's my honest opinion. But, you know, the goals alone tell you that he's a good player. Obviously, he had not the best time in the last 2 or 3 seasons. With, I think, since Nigel Pearson came in and kind of changed up the system. I think we tried to play a 4-4-2 with like Vidra and someone else. So yeah, Martin was kind of loaned out to Fulham. We tried to get him back and give him a new contract, and that's the contract that he's on at the minute. That's about to expire, and if we don't extend it, I'll be amazed, because we don't have a better striker at the club. Waghorn's brilliant on the right, but as an out-and-out striker, Martin is the best. For Koku's system, I do like Marriott as well, of course, but has had a bit of a tough season with injuries and doesn't quite fit into Koku's system, but a great player. I remember against Bristol City scoring that goal. Didn't really mean much, but it was a brilliant goal from Marriott, and yeah, just to hope those injuries get behind him, of course. So yeah, Chris Martin, nice boost for him, up to his 72 rated card. Nice boost in pace, although I don't think EA will do this just because he's 30. He's over 30. I think he might be 31 actually. Yeah, because he's over 30, EA don't give pace upgrades to players that are old, apparently, even though he is more pace than 42. But yeah, +4 in shooting, +7 in dribbling, and a +4 in physical. Really physical player. Like the way he pesters defenders is brilliant, and just his hold-up play. There's so many things that I like about Chris Martin, and there's very few players that, if you wanted to try and replace Chris Martin with someone who plays like him, you're talking like, you know, I think Mitrovic does it slightly better. He's got a few more attributes to him, but yeah, Chris Martin's the next best thing, and really hope we give him a new contract. If we don't give him a new contract, I'll be very, very disappointed in the club. So that about wraps it up for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy me just making up numbers, basically. But yeah, it's probably, I don't know, it's difficult with the youngsters because of the way EA do upgrades. I hope they do them up to like around a 70 mark, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's only like a +10 on each of these cards, because of the way, I don't know, it's a tricky one, because EA don't watch football, they just look at stats. Players like Knight and Bird might not get a boost that they probably deserve, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. Yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure you do leave your comments down below on what rating you think the players should be, and what other teams and what other players that I should predict. I've got a few ideas off the top of my head, but yeah, I think it's been an interesting season for Derby. to say the least. You know, the number of things that happened. The mad thing is, the lockdown isn't even the biggest off-field accident that's happened at the club. Like, you know, just, you know what's happened, basically. It's ridiculous. So yeah, hopefully guys did enjoy this video. Be sure to leave a like rating and comment down below, and see you soon. Bye.